Welcome back to Marion's World, everyone. Today I'm going to show you just how I did this beautiful piece of chicken scratch embroidery. It doesn't take very long, it's really simple stitching, but the effect is super pretty. I hope you enjoy it. I don't actually need that many supplies today. As you can see, I've got my dress in the hoop already, and I've identified the middle of my dress, which is actually this white stripe here. I'd have really preferred it if it had been on a dark one, but it isn't. So I'll just deal with it. And although I looked for all different sorts of patterns for chicken scratch to see if I could see anything that particularly appealed to me, I really like the very traditional pure white on the gingham. And because there's so much else going on in my dress, that's what I'm sticking with. This blue gingham, which is from a man's shirt, is actually just 1/4 of an inch. So I'll put my ruler there. So it's 6mm or 1/4 inch for the squares. And so I've decided to use all white stranded cotton, which I've got here. I've taken off quite a long length already, and I've got one strand threaded in my needle. And I've done one strand because I don't want to have a knot on the back of my bodice at all, because this is going to be right over my chest area. So I've threaded the two ends of the one strand through my needle, and that means I've got a loop at the bottom like that. And so I'm going to use that loop to start without a knot. The top of my bodice is actually just beyond where my hoop is. And so I think I'm going to start it just about here. And I'm going to come up right in the corner of the dark square. And now that I'm up there, I'm going to pull up. I'm going to start to do my first cross, and I'm going to really be embroidering on the dark squares with these crosses. I'll go down in that corner, and I'm just going to turn my hoop over, and I'm going to get a hold of the loop. So I'll show you that so you'll see how I'm starting off. So I'll just pull that. There's my loop. There's the back of the pin that's marking my middle, and I'm just going to thread my needle through the loop. And when I pull that up, I can go to wherever I'm next going to go. So I'll just go to there because I know I'm going to make a cross. And if I pull through to the front, you'll see I've got a really nice, neat start. I really love this style of embroidery. It's quite old, and I definitely associate it with America. Sort of old, traditional North America embroidery. And I have done a tiny bit in the past, but not much. So I'm going to do a double cross stitch here, and I'm just going to do it all from the top. You could definitely be doing this in your hand instead of the hoop, but most places I saw were doing it in the hoop, and of course for me it makes it easier to show you if I've got my fabric stretched. So there's my first double cross. Oh, I don't know why I came there. I want to go up in a diagonal. I'll just take that back through. I'm not even thinking straight. Right, I'll take that back through. Get my hand up my dress. Okay, I'm going to come up diagonally. So I'm going to put a heart here. And what I really love about this style of embroidery is that it's very simple stitches, but it ends up looking like lace, which is really lovely. So I'm just going to be doing double cross stitches here, and I'm going to really make sure that I'm coming up right in the corners on the cross, which always gets done first, and then halfway down to do the cross stitch that lies on top. It also reminds me ever so slightly of sashiko, and I think it's because there's woven elements too, and it's what I really enjoy doing on the sashiko that I did on my jacket. I'll put a link into that video if you want to see my very first ever sashiko that I did. Actually, there's 2 videos altogether. And if you're wondering why I'm putting links in my latest videos, it's because I've just learned how to do them. I keep having to try and learn new things. Anyway, I'm going to go and do these double cross stitches in an outline of a heart, and then I'm going to do a filling. I have got my other hand underneath just to support the fabric. So now I'm wondering whether I'm going to go along. I can't quite decide how big a heart I'm going to do. So I've done 3 diagonals up, I'll try 3 across and then see how big I think it's going to go. I really liked, when I was looking around, there was such a lot of what I'd call more modern chicken scratch, where there's lots of colours and different stitches among it, and I really liked it a lot. However, I just felt that my dress was so colourful anyway, I really just wanted to do the white on white, because the way it ends up looking like lace is sort of magical. Because all you're doing really is you're covering up the very dark squares and enhancing the light squares. As you can see, I'm just working on the darkest colour of my gingham. Cross first, and then the plus sign. So I'll come down to that corner, go along to do my big cross. I'll do my horizontal next, so it saves thread as I go around the design, up to the top and down to finish. And I'll just finish this one off and finish off on the back. Give it a snip. I'll leave a little tail. Now, as you can see, I've come right down on a diagonal, so I've done 3 going up to the point of the heart. I've done 3 along the top. I did 4 coming down, and then I turned a diagonal again, and I've done each dark square, 1, 2, 3. I've done 5 coming down. Now, really, I wanted it to be able to be 1 star in the bottom for a point and be able to go up, but my white line is actually the middle, so I'm going to sort out the point at the bottom and the point here with whatever I do with the filling, and I'm going to hope I can do it. So I'm just going to work the exact same thing on the other side and work my way up, doing the double cross stitch as carefully as I can so that it looks pretty. It's sort of like magic the way it turns the gingham into something looking so delicate and lacy. I really like it a lot. So anyway, I'm going to work my way up and I'm going to finish the heart outline. I feel as if I know what I'm going to do to the outline, because I think I'm going to do some weaving to join it all up together, but I might leave that right up until the very end to see how it looks, because I don't want to take anything out. I just want it to look pretty, and I also think I might do some of these double cross stitches around the neckline as well. Right, I'm going to finish this thread off and finish my heart. Well, as you can see, I've finished the outline and I'm carrying on, and I'm going to do the double cross stitch on every single dark square within the design. And I'm always putting the cross in first, and I sort of end up with a method of doing it that sets me up for the nearest or the shortest underneath for the next cross. So I'm starting at a corner, I go across to the other corner, I go across for the horizontal, and with me being a lefty, I'm stitching it from this left hand side all the time, whatever makes it easiest. And then I go up to the top to finish with a vertical that sets me up just to go across one square to the next corner. And it leaves me with all the crosses ending up with a vertical. Now, I'm not sure whether that matters or not to anybody else. I think the cross can go in any which way you like, because the crossing point is always going to be covered up by the straight on cross on top of it. And probably it doesn't matter at all which way ends up on top. But for me, this seems like an easy way of doing it, and it looks neat and tidy. And the back looks decent too. And as you can probably tell on the camera, even just putting the first double cross stitches in, covering up the very dark squares, has already meant that the heart that I've done already looks lighter than the background. And so that's going to get more and more visible as I do more of the chicken scratch on top of it. I'm going to carry on. I think I'm out of this thread now, so I'm going to just finish this double cross stitch, finish this thread off, and I will finish filling in the heart. I've filled in all of my double cross stitches, and you can see it's making a really pretty paler looking heart than the background. And at its most basic, that is chicken scratch. It's the most basic stitch, the double cross stitch. I have got a little box here of 9 of the double cross stitches. You can see there, one in each heart shape there, and I'm going to do a flower here. So I've come up just in the middle of the 9 pieces. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and I'm going to take each of these little threads, and I'm going to weave through to the one on the outside. So I'm just going to go under the leg there. I'm going to come back and go under this leg, and I'm going to go around again. So I'm going to do every little one is going to be twice, so that it has 4 strands instead of just the 2. And I'll go down to finish, come up on the next one. I'll just work, doesn't matter which way round that you're going to work them. Going to come up right alongside the stitch, and I'll go out to this leg here and underneath. So that's once round and twice round, down and up to the next one, and again. So every single leg of this middle double cross stitch is going to have a petal going out to the edge. And just come up as near to it as you can. You can use the eye of your needle if you want to weave in with the eye. That's the second time round, so down as near as you can and up to the corner. And pretty soon, just with simple things, you can really make something super, super pretty. once round and twice round. Until all of them are done. I want to do another one of these little star-shaped flowers in that piece, and there's nothing stopping you going around 3 times. And obviously if you wanted to have more than 2 strands of thread, you could definitely use 3 on this size of gingham, but I think 4 may be a little bit too chunky for the sort of effect that I'm after. So I want this to look very lace-like. After each double wrap, you need to take your needle down to the back and then come up at the next leg to do the next part. I could definitely have done this in the opposite colourway, so I could have got a royal blue stranded cotton and I could have done it over all of the white checks. But the white on colour is the traditional way. And I feel that this was quite a utilitarian sort of embroidery. You saw it on aprons and skirt hems and tea towels and things like that. And I'm not sure whether it's still a popular style of embroidery or not. You'll have to let me know in the comments if you are a chicken scratcher, in that you still do this. And by all means, let me know of any good books or any websites that you think would be a good resource, because I'll not only be interested myself but the other people who are in the comments. It's always nice to find people who can point you to things you might not have heard of before. So by all means, leave some links or comments about where we should be going next. Okay, I've done that one. Now I want the one in the middle, but it'll have to be centered on the white square, which is not usual. But I'm just going to finish around this piece now while I've got my thread in my needle up here. So the next thing to do really is to stitch over the mid colours, and I'm going to do that in a diagonal fashion. So I'm going to start off by putting my straight stitches like I've done over here, but actually I want to fill in quite a bit of the background, and I like to do the straight stitches working along a diagonal, because it seems to me the easier way of doing it. So instead of coming along and going now to this square here, I just hop over to the next one along, next square up, and put a horizontal in. So all of the mid-tone on the white stripes need to be horizontal, and all of the straight stitches on the dark colour stripe need to be vertical. And that's because all of the stitches, these straight stitches, need to go down the middles of the squares, but they need to radiate away from a white square. So I'll come down to here and put a horizontal in. And I just need to get onto a run of a diagonal at the minute. I'll just work my way down to this corner, and then I can show you what I mean. So I'm aware of the outline of my heart, and I'm not sure what I'm doing with the rest of it, but if I'm not going outside of the outline, I will put my stitch in. Okay, so here goes. So this is what I mean by working these stitches in the diagonal. So remember, they have to radiate from the white square. So I'll go there and then just hop across the corner You could be running stitching it, but then it becomes more difficult when you're doing the verticals. So here I'm just going to go down to that one, up across the corner, come up to do the horizontal, and keep hopping across the corner to do your verticals on the dark ones and the horizontals on the light ones, as long as all of your white straight stitches are radiating away from the white squares. You can do that if I put my hand underneath. I could be doing that in one go, and then you've got very little on the back and all your thread is on the front, or most of your thread's on the front anyway. At the bottom I don't have a point, and I'm just going to leave it like that for the moment, and I might have to fill something in right at the very end. I'm just going to see how I go. So I'll come across from here to there to work my way back up exactly the same, across the diagonal, every time. And I'm going to lay all of those stitches in before I can go any further. So I'm just going to continue going up and down and filling all of these mid-tone squares with a straight stitch. And I really wanted to put one in the bottom, but obviously I don't have the dark square to start it on, so I'm centering it on this white square here. And what I've come up with, I've actually done half of it already. I am taking each of the dark squares around that central part, and I'm coming up right in the middle of the double cross stitch, and I'm going to make a petal shape by going through the side, missing out that one, and going through these here. So I'm going to go through the three at the top, missing out that one and coming back through this one, and it sort of makes a petal shape, especially if I don't end on the square but go right down into the middle of that double cross stitch there. And I like that shape a lot. So I'm going round it again, and really you can make these up. I've just made these up now, and that was why I was off camera a little minute. I was thinking I'd better see if this is going to work. So there's one large petal, and then I wanted to do a smaller petal coming out from the side, so like this one is here. And so I didn't just want the line like that, so actually what I ended up doing is coming through the three at the top, so, and it makes a little triangle shape. So I can weave through that one, go around it a second time through those three there, down I go, and I've got one more diagonal to do and one more at the top. You could definitely play these shapes on a bit of graph paper to see what patterns you like to do. I'm going to finish off the middle of this one, going through all of the stitches that are leading to this white square. It's not quite what the background stitch is going to be, but similar. It's just going to make a nice centre. I'm going to go through every one twice. And now I'm ready for my background design. So I'm actually going to finish off my thread here, and I'm going to start up at the top. Now that little motif's gone in there really prettily, and I'm coming up here to do all of my background, which will be the last bit of embroidery, I think. And so now I'm going to do the weaving just the same as that, but instead of going through all of the little legs, even of the cross stitches, I'm only going to go through the straight stitches, and I'm going to leave the crosses alone. I'm not going to do that at all. So you sort of end up with a little diamond shape, and I'm going to go twice round it just the same, down to the bottom and along to the next one, whichever's the most convenient for you to go to. Up through those two, down through those two, and round again. And you can see what a difference they make. Now then, I'm on here. I think I'm going to come up here as if I'm going to do it, but I'm going to go along to that leg, and then I'm going to go along there, so I'm making the edge of the heart. I think that will work well. I like that. Down I go, come up to the next one, and in this way I'm going to work through all of the background squares, making sure that I go around twice around my just like that, and going down after my second go, and then down to the next white square. And this is just going to enhance the whole thing and really make the white squares stand out proud. Go down after your second round and find the next square that you want to do. I'll just go to the nearest one, wherever that is. It's finished and I'm very pleased with it. The little woven diamonds have made a really good background, and the only thing I've gone back in to do extra is I've woven around the middle of this piece again, and then I've made a double cross stitch in the middle as well. I had thought of adding some little tiny buttons in the middles of the petals, or I've got some pearl beads, but actually I didn't like the look of it, and so I've just enhanced it with a bit more stitching, and I think it's working really well. So I might do a little bit of just double cross stitch going around my neckline, but I'm going to wait till it's out of the hoop before I decide whether to do that or not. And to get my points here, I have gone through 3 of the legs and then straight across, and then I made a little fly stitch there down to the middle, and at the bottom I've sort of done the opposite. I went through the 3 there, and then I've made a little catching stitch to make the point. So I'm not sure whether these edge ones that I've done are very traditional. I think quite often you just see the stars at the edge that are just left as they are, like I've done there. But it suits me to do them that way, and so I like the way that I've done it. So I hope that's given you ideas of how you can do it, and you don't have to have gingham. A normal checky fabric will work just as well. And even if you wanted to mark it out in the same way as you mark out sashiko, you could just mark it onto plain fabric and you could do the exact same thing. And it does remind me very slightly of doing the sashiko, because the simple stitching that builds up one layer and then another layer and another layer, and then the weaving, it is reminiscent, but I know that this dates back to Depression era North America. So Anybody else wants to tell me any interesting information, please do so in the comments. I've taken it out of the hoop, and actually I don't want to do anything here because of the shape of the neckline. I think it would just detract from what I've already done, and I'm super pleased with it. I thought before I tried it on you might like to see what the inside looked like, and so that is how it looks on the inside. You can see I've got quite a regular pattern going on because I sort of work diagonally around, but actually it's pretty decent. Well, now you can see just how it looks like now I'm wearing it, and I really think it's pretty, and I'm very pleased that I did this little heart on the front. It wasn't exactly what I was starting out thinking I was going to do, but I'm happy with how it's ended up. So I hope that's given you some ideas about what you can do on some of your clothing maybe, or a little bag or a purse. It would look lovely with this on. I can see me going to do some more of this in the future, but I say that about everything and there's never enough time, especially when I'm gardening now as well. I hope if you haven't checked it out already, that you go and have a look at my new garden channel called Marion's Garden. There's only been 2 videos so far. Oh no, yesterday will have been the 3rd one. So between stitching, gardening, trying to make veg beds and all the myriad other things that go on here, my days are pretty much full. So there are so many projects on the go. In fact, I think I might just do a project video next, because there are some things that I was going to add on to the end of this video, and then I thought it would be too long, so I missed them off in the end. But I've been doing 1 or 2 really nice things, and I've got 1 or 2 things on the go that you won't have known about. So maybe I'll do that next week. Who knows? It could be more stitching. It seems a while since I've been in the hoop, and I really enjoyed it because really that's what I love to do. It just means I've been sewing other things instead. Anyway, thanks for watching everyone, and send me some comments if you've got any good information about Chicken Scratch or the history or some good books. Myself and other people in the comments would probably love to find out about them, and I'd really appreciate that. And in the meantime, thanks very much for your support, and thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time when you come and visit me at Marion's World. Bye everyone, thanks a lot.